Rock and Wiley, Mark Schlereth is back with us. We're joined now by future Hall of Famer James Harrison. Time now for a big story. Let's move to Baltimore, where the Ravens have been saying that Lamar Jackson is about to revolutionize the NFL, building a custom offense tailored to Lamar's unique skills. But it turns out Lamar's skills might actually be more traditional than we thought, with NFL analyst Warren Sharp writing a new column defending Lamar's ability as a passer. Sharp explaining that Lamar actually posted a higher yards per attempt and better passer rating in his rookie season than a number of QBs drafted above him over the last several years, including Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, and Sam Darnold. All right, we're talking about this because Warren Sharp, to me, is the best guy in writing, analyzing the NFL. This guy is tremendous. He's not to be trifled with or second-guessed. I've been a Lamar Jackson skeptic. I read this and was shook to my core. I was like, whoo, I might be wrong. Let me get in this Deion Sanders backpedal a little bit. He brought out some facts that have shaken me up, and I'm going to adjust my narrative on Lamar based on it, and I'm going to take a much more wait-and-see approach going into this season.
So I know what you think of Warren Sharp, and I also now know what you think of me, because I've been saying this from hello, especially last
Warren Sharp.
I just noticed that. And you, my boy, my co-host, never took this into consideration. I told you when I went to that Chargers game, and I said, man, this dude could throw. I mean, a lot can be seen when you're there live. You get to see him pre-game, sideline, just miss opportunities, whatever it may be, just filling it in the elements. I'm like, he could throw. He's just not comfortable yet. The game hasn't slowed down for him yet. But let's not doubt his passing ability. We don't even talk about his running ability. It's next level. When you talk, Tyreek Hill-ish almost at the quarterback position. The dude can do it all. So when I see numbers that finally support him, it supports the eyeball test if you look at it in unconventional terms. We've seen a lot of quarterbacks that come into this league and they're already on strike one because they just don't look like a quarterback. They can't do it with the proper mechanics. It just is not sellable to those who are distant from the game. But this is a guy you need to bet on because of his age and his skill set. And I'm glad finally something supports it more than just the eyeballs.
You know, I'm the ultimate Raven hater. And as soon as I saw this, I wanted to like jump down his neck and just be like, nah, he can't do it. But I had to sit back and I thought about it. I read the article just like you, and I'm like, that sounds kind of familiar, like his startings. And you go back to 2004, Ben Roethlisberger. And when Ben came in the league, he's not the guy that he is now. He wasn't developed. He wasn't slinging the ball everywhere. Ben's first year, he had 10 games under 200. He had 3 that was over 200, only 1 over 300 yards. His rookie year, Lamar's, he had 6 games of his 7 that were under 200, only 1 that was over 200. So I look at it again. I say, well, how many times he throwing the ball? Ben only attempted 21 passes his rookie year, completing on average 14 a game. Lamar, 22, completing on average 13 a game. And something else that stuck out. It's like, well, how are they able to do this? Both teams had #2 rushing offenses. And another factor, they both had a #1 defense. So he's not going to be rushed and trying to have to develop everything right now. And with that, I think he'll be able, possibly, to be one of those franchise quarterbacks.
Let me tell you
Break it down.
the difference between apples and oranges, okay? Apples are red or green. They're crispy inside. Oranges are orange, henceforth the name. They have slices, right? They serve oranges at halftime during Pop Warner games. They don't serve apples. You're comparing offenses from a traditional standpoint to a collegiate offense that he operated in. Can he throw to a wide-open slant receiver that's the only read in his route? Absolutely. But when he came into a situation where he had to operate from the pocket, he was woefully inadequate. Does that mean he can't get better? No, it doesn't matter. It means that he can't get better. But I guarantee you one thing. In the offense that they ran last year, this collegiate style of offense, he will not survive. At 212 pounds, he will eventually, listen, right now you go into a situation where you've got so many keys, it's so awkward, it's so different for you as a defensive player that, you know what, you're playing on your heels. Just like when they first introduced Wildcat into the offense in the National Football League in 2007 or 8, when the Miami Dolphins ran it down the New England Patriots' throats, and everybody put in Wildcat, right? And nobody could defend it. You know how many Wildcat teams there are now? The Saints are the only one that consistently run a little bit of it because they've got that quarterback that's a freak show, all right? That backup quarterback. But the bottom line is defenses will adjust. And eventually, you know what you'll say? Hey, you know what, James, we're going to give up the 13-yard flip. What I want you to do is I want you to give him a mouthful of Rydell and knock him out of the game. Right? When he comes down there, that's exactly what happens. That's how we talk. And you will not survive the way you're currently constructed as an offense. So you're comparing this article. I read this article. I laughed. This article is comparing apples to oranges. They're completely different offenses. That's what you're comparing.
Mark, I hear you.
Okay.
You just said everything that I believed going into this article. but what I'm saying, what I thought Warren Sharp did a great job of is saying, hey, man, there's a path for him to adjust and for them to run a legitimate NFL offense.
Right.
Don't give up on this guy as a passer. There are some indicators here that say there will be some growth here.
You think about this. Here, in 2004, when Ben was doing his thing, when he had his biggest plays was scrambles. Why? Because the defense broke down. You no longer had to read it. You hit the open man. So he's right now, he's in his rookie year. He can't read all these complicated defenses now.
I call that a sight thrower. When things break down, you move around. Now I'm a sight thrower. I'm not anticipatory. I'm not throwing a route combination. I'm just looking at my guy and going, oh, he's open, bam. Can you do that? Yeah. Is there a pathway? Absolutely. Will you survive health-wise? See, that's my biggest issue. I mean, we've got Cam Newton, who's the biggest, I mean, he's the freak show of all freak shows when it comes to 6'5", 240. At 29 years old, man, like he had shoulder surgery. He missed the last 2 games of last year. He was broken. Like he was, I mean, I did the game late. He's broken. He's one of the biggest men. I mean, he is a genetic freak show. If he breaks down, now it took a while. I just get concerned about that style. Can you get to the point where he's a legitimate NFL drop back guy reading out things? Because that takes time I don't care who you are. That takes time. It's complicated.
One, the correlation between size and fragility is not direct. Like Warrick Dunn was out there every year giving his business, and good luck catching that gnat and getting a square hit on him. I think there's faulty premises here. One is the forecast. A lot of what you're based on is the negative forecast that he's going to get hurt doing this. We don't know that. Chances are you're right if you want to play the percentages. But 2, let's not look at how when he had to sit in the pocket and play against the Chargers twice in 3 weeks. The Chargers first time, they were like, what is this? Second time, they put out 11 DBs. And I mean, no defense ever looked like that. And he's a rookie in the playoffs for the first time. That's an anomaly. I think there's room to grow because he's actually starting at a place that people don't even give him credit for.
No question. I'm not saying there's not room to grow. I'm just saying, will you get there?
Oh, yeah.
Will you get there? But to compare his numbers straight up to the other numbers when you're comparing 2 different offenses, I don't think that's fair.
I get
it. Great point. All right, coming up, Baker Mayfield's big mouth is making the Browns a target, but his coach, Reggie Kitchen, says he doesn't care what Baker says. We'll tell you if we're buying it. Next.